Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. A senior UN official in Sudan says she's deeply troubled by reports of atrocious crimes in the central Garissa state that includes the mass killing of civilians by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Clementine Nkweta Salami's comments came after an activist group said that at least 124 people were killed by the RSF in attacks on villages over the past week. The RSF has denied targeting civilians, saying its fighters are clashing with militias armed by the military. Garissa state turned into a major battleground last week after the RSF suffered a major blow when one of its commanders, Abdul Kayak, defected to the military. The army said he had brought a large number of his forces with him in what it described as the first high-profile defection to its side. In response, the RSF said its fighters would defend themselves and decisively deal with everyone carrying arms. Ms. Nkweta Salami, the UN resident and humanitarian coordinator in Sudan, said that preliminary reports suggest that the RSF had carried out a major attack across the state last week. It's an 18-month conflict happening in Sudan and has killed tens of thousands of people and displaced more than 11 million. In the meantime, more than 600 million women and girls are now affected by war, and this represents a 50% increase from a decade ago. This is according to a new report by the United Nations. Top UN officials say women now fear the world has forgotten them amid an escalating backlash against women's rights and gender equality. According to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, amid record levels of armed conflict and violence, progress over the decades for women is vanishing, and generational gains in women's rights hang in the balance around the world. The UN chief was assessing the state of a Security Council resolution that was adopted on October 31 in the year 2000 that demanded equal participation for women in peace negotiations, and that's a goal that remains as distant as gender equality. We're in North Africa now. Kenya's impeached Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has filed a petition with the Court of Appeal aiming to halt ongoing impeachment proceedings in the High Court. Mr. Gachagua argues that the High Court's recent rulings were flawed and has raised objections over the legitimacy of the three-judge bench presiding over his case. His legal team contends that Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu overstepped her authority by appointing the three judges without the approval of Chief Justice Martha Koome. However, last week, the three-judge panel upheld the legitimacy of Mwilu's actions, with one of the justices stating that the Deputy Chief Justice could temporarily exercise the Chief Justice administrative duties when necessary. Mr. Gachagua is now urging the Court of Appeal to issue an injunction to stop the High Court proceedings until his appeal is reviewed. Let's get more on all that's happening in Kenya with regards to this story. Joining us now is Victoria Amunga, reporter with the VOA's Nairobi Bureau. Hello, Victoria. Thank you for your time on the program.
Good evening, Layo. Good evening from Kenya. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. But I want to begin by asking, how soon can we, get a response on Mr. Gachagua's injunction at the Court of Appeal?
All right. The impeached DP Gachagua filed his appeal today, and by 6 p.m., it's past 6 p.m. in Nairobi right now, the Court of Appeal had not given any instructions. So in this regard, it means the case that was supposed to continue tomorrow, because it was set to continue tomorrow before the three-judge bench, the three judges will continue unless the Court of Appeal gives a direction before tomorrow morning, or rather tomorrow in the morning, because as we talk right now, the Court of Appeal has not given any directions, and as regarding to this case, whether they have not even responded yet to Gachagua's appeal.
Well, help us understand, the work, the task of the three-judge panel. You said they were expected to meet tomorrow.
Yeah, the three judges are supposed to consolidate 39 petitions that were presented before them. Among them, there are issues to do with the legality of, the public participation in the case that was meant to be impeaching the DP Gachagua. So there are 39 petitions in total, and the three judges are supposed to be sitting and consolidating all of them, listening to each and every one of them, and making all of them to be one, and then make a decision on whether the Senate was the Senate's decision to impeach the DP will stand, or they will overrule that the impeachment by the Senate.
Now, with all that's going on, Victoria, is Kenya not affected by the vacancy of the vice president's seat? I mean, with Mr. Gachagua being impeached, and also we remember the president's appointment of Kithure Kindiki put on hold.
Yeah, there are definitely some effects to that, because the office of the DP has been assigned certain functions that only the office of the DP can do. And right now, over 108 of the staff that work in that office have been sent home on a compulsory leave. So some of the services there are definitely impeded, but there are some functions that were performed by some of the PSs, that is the permanent secretaries, and other officers which continue. But as far as those that directly concern the office of the DP, for example, he's the one that is in charge of devolution matters, issues to do with coffee. So all those services that require the direct decisions of the DP have been stalled for now. So those services cannot be given directly to the Kenyans or the people that deserve them until that office is occupied by either Gachagua himself or the new DP Kindiki.
Yeah, and it's all bent on tomorrow's three-judge panel coming together and making a decision. Oh, finally, Victoria, just before I let you go, how do Kenyans feel about all this happening in the political sphere?
Yes, there's been a lot of mixed reactions from the public, many going onto social media to talk about the issue from the time it all started up to now. Some say that Gachagua should carry his cross and face what the charges that have been leveled against him. Others say that because they were elected together with his boss, the president, then they should all be going home, and then we have new leaders here. But there are some who say then Gashagua's case has already been decided, so what he needs to do is just to resign and let the other person take over. So we see a lot of mixed reactions from the public right now.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Victoria Amonga, VOA's reporter in Nairobi. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, we're still in Kenya, where the prominent human rights activist Boniface Mwangi has been released from prison after spending a night behind bars without charges. Well, according to his wife, he has been released without charge after being detained by police on suspicion of inciting violence. Well, she described how 6 masked individuals forcibly took him from his home on Sunday. His detention came after he called for an anti-government protest at a marathon in the capital, Nairobi. Now, his detention has also caused outrage among his supporters who are demanding his release. Mr. Mwangi has been arrested and released on numerous occasions over his campaigning. His latest call for a protest was seen as an attempt to keep up pressure on President William Ruto, who has faced growing public anger over the escalating cost of living and also alleged police brutality during demonstrations earlier this year. We're still in East Africa. Ugandans are reacting to the country officially joining the BRICS bloc as one of 13 new partner nations. It's a move Ugandan economist John Walugembe says would reshape international trade and investment opportunities. And this would allow small developing countries to contribute to important discussions. While other locals on the streets believe the BRICS partnership would ensure that Ugandans are not considered underdogs in global trade, but fellow players in socio-economic growth, and they believe it would also benefit all citizens of the country.
Presents itself as a counterbalance, as an alternative to to the unipolar world order, and I think it's in northern countries like Uganda and other developing countries want to be able to have certain level of independence and choice with regard to what policies to pursue, whom to associate with, and so on. And therefore, BRICS is a good platform for countries like ours. But beyond those geopolitical motivations, there's also the economic motivations. If you look at the trade balance between Uganda and countries like China and India, this is where a lot of our trade is actually taking place. So also from the economic perspective, it's in order that Uganda belongs, even as a partner, to the BRICS platform. And just to emphasize that BRICS, a lot of countries don't look at BRICS as an anti-Western alliance. It's simply an alternative kind of bloc that provides something different from what the West offers. So I think, taking those reasons into consideration, it's a good thing. Different countries bring something different. For instance, if you look at the Western world, there is a lot of emphasis on good governance, anti-corruption, strong democratic institutions, accountability. If you look at our colleagues from the East, their emphasis may be on the economy, on infrastructure, for instance, with China. So it means that having diverse partners for a small country like Uganda is a good thing.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has welcomed his Algerian counterpart Abdelmajid Tebboune after he landed at Cairo International Airport for a two-day official visit. The Egyptian presidency shows al-Sisi welcoming Mr. Tebboune at the airport before their convoy left for the Al-Ittihadiyya Palace, where a ceremonial reception took place to greet the Algerian president. Mr. Tebboune was accompanied by a delegation including Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf and Energy Minister Mohamed Akbar. Well, their talks are aimed at addressing bilateral issues, the war in Gaza and the Libyan crisis, as well as regional and economic matters such as Algerian gas supplies to Cairo and topics related to the African Union. President Tebboune had participated in a trilateral summit meeting between the leaders of Algeria, Tunisia, and the Libyan Presidential Council in the capital, Tripoli, just before his trip to Cairo. This visit marks Mr. Tebboune's second trip to Cairo since assuming office in December 2019, after his first visit in January 2022. In the meantime, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has proposed a 48-hour ceasefire in Gaza, during which 4 hostages held by Hamas would be exchanged with Palestinian prisoners released from Israeli jails. The humanitarian initiative was announced during a press conference with his Algerian counterpart Abdelmajid Tebboune. Both leaders discussed the situation in Gaza and the escalating tensions in Lebanon, and also ways to create stability in Libya and Sudan. President al-Sisi explains the structure of the Egyptian proposal, which aims to support humanitarian efforts and also to create a pathway to lasting peace. The 56-nation Commonwealth has announced Ghana's Foreign Minister Shirley Ayoko Bochwe as the organization's new Secretary General at a Rancora summit that concluded in Samoa over the weekend. The Voluntary Association of Sovereign States is mostly made up of former British colonies. Ms. Bochwe was one of 3 candidates vying for the post, all who have backed calls for Britain to address the legacy of colonialism and slavery. A former lawmaker, she has served as foreign minister for the past 7 years, notably steering Ghana's 2-year tenure on the UN Security Council ending December 2023. She has backed the drafting of a free trade agreement among Commonwealth member states and has previously said she stands for reparations. Well, she's taking over from the incumbent Dominican Baroness Patricia Scotland and is eligible to serve a maximum of 2 terms of 4 years each. A community library in Egypt's Delta city of Shakia is offering children access to cultural activities that are otherwise not available in the remote village. Located in Kaf Abu Nafi, the facility caters to the educational needs of community kids in several subjects.
In a Delta village in Egypt's Sharqiya, dozens of children enjoy reading books and learning about science and technology, thanks to a community library established by a children's books author and her uncle. Reem Nafi and her uncle, Hamdi Nafi, take care of the library in Kafr Abu Nafi village, which is part of Al-Saf charity organization, chaired by Hamdi Nafi.
We noticed that there's a big gap between the book and the reader. Everyone depends on the internet and new things like social media websites, which I don't want to say always, but most of the time have no credible sources of circulated information. And there is a lot of wrong information. But the book's author and its publisher are known. The book is an honest friend for culture seekers.
For Reem Nafi, she wanted to create a space for children to better spend their time amid lack of cultural services in the remote village, far away from Cairo, where most of these activities are offered.
When I look at the children in the village around me, I find them wasting their time. The child finishes homework if he has some, does everything that can be done, and the rest of the day is empty. There is nothing to be done, no place to go, nowhere that can gather the children of the community to do something useful. So when I look at them, I either find them fighting or doing bad things, breaking stuff, throwing stones or beating the dogs. There is no avenue for them to find a space to develop themselves or dream for a better future.
She adds that the library is not only for children, but for everyone.
The library does not only welcome children, but it also welcomes youth, women, and even men. The library is capable to receive those who are ready to volunteer to teach the people in Egypt's countryside something that is unavailable to them and that they can reach because of how far and centralized in the capital these things are.
Launched a year ago, the community library opens 6 days a week, but every group of children are given slots twice a week to attend due to the limited space and large number of children. Reem says she dreams of establishing similar libraries in thousands of Egyptian villages and has started developing a similar project in the Delta city of Mansoura.
The 2024 Al-Kabulan Immigrants Impact Awards took place last night in Sandton, Johannesburg, South Africa, celebrating the invaluable contributions of immigrants to South Africa. The event recognizes their significant impact across various sectors, including the economy, culture, science, and arts. Our correspondent, Innocent Samosa, reports.
Celebrating the invaluable contributions of immigrants to South Africa, highlighting their significant impact across various sectors.
The history of immigrants and refugees in South Africa highlights the nation's complex relationship with immigrants.
The Transvaal Scottish performance captivated the audience. Channel's television correspondent Innocent Samosa was honored with the Ubuntu Award for his dedication to sharing impactful and uplifting African stories. And we had the opportunity to speak to some winners.
It's really a great achievement to acknowledge that there are people who see what I do and the difference I'm making in the community. So it really means a lot to me and my team.
So I basically won the People's Choice Award, right? And this is actually my very first award. I'm 20 years and I've never received an award in my life, and this is my very first. So it was quite an emotional moment for myself.
Linda Ben is the co-founder of the Al-Kabulan Immigrants Impact Awards.
How the idea came about, it was purely from our traveling experiences, that is from myself and my co-founder, which is Tebo. So we had an opportunity to travel the world, and in different countries we were well received, and warmly so. And then when you came home, you know, you would sit around, you know, all the negative things that South Africans would say, you know, around issues of migrants, and with reason, you know, to an extent. But we felt that, you know, we needed something to be done, to have a platform that we can use as an educational platform.
Absolutely. I think, you know, when you see people come out and make the effort to come to such an event, already we are experiencing from music, you know, to cultural drumming, all of those things that we never ever understood before. And when we create more dialogue, more communication, there's more understanding.
Indeed, it was a night filled with celebration, music and dance. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.